I want to just supercharge businesses, whether that's personal brands, large companies, medium-sized companies, small companies, with content. That's what I'm going to be doing starting from, yesterday.
So you've grown your business from zero to where it is today. So leaving uni, having zero revenue business-wise, to getting to almost 20 grand a month of revenue, that's exceptional.
It takes about 3 months to reset your expectations. You do like a few big months back to back to back. You just have that hygiene standard. So it's kind of normal. It's like 10K per month was always the big milestone, and then you get there, this is nothing. And what I think documenting and building in public does is send them a DM. Hey bro, do you want to grab coffee? Like there's kids in Bali doing crazy numbers. There's nothing super special about them. Like they're not super geniuses.
A massive thank you to Casbolt's Motorcycles here at 6 Gasson Street for sponsoring the episode of the 10 Million in 10 Years podcast, authorized dealer of Honda and Ducati motorcycles. Okay, before we get into the next episode, I just want to say a personal thanks to Tom for supporting this episode and the challenge in general.
Dave, I absolutely love what you're doing. Great to be a part of it, and best of luck with the challenge.
Hello and welcome to the 10 Million in 10 Years podcast. I'm David, your host, and I'm joined by Ben Ferrier today. Welcome, Ben.
G'day, mate.
Hey, it's good to have you on. We were just doing some pre-planning, This is about episode 120-ish, give or take.
Okay.
It might actually be slightly more or slightly less, but we're getting up there. And you are the mastermind or the genius behind the podcast audio of episode 100.
Yes. The audio wasn't great at the start, but it was tricky conditions to pull it off.
I tell you what, I was stoked personally.
Yeah.
The looks you were giving me when we were recording, I was thinking that this audio is totally unusable. There's no chance. It's going to be scrapped. I'm going to have to tell the guys. But I think you did super well, so thank you.
Yeah, I just put high expectations on myself and what the audio should be, but I mean, something's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, I think you put high expectations on yourself and I put low expectations on the quality just because of the situation. So
yeah.
One of the things I guess that you do for a job, for a career, for a business is media, creative output. Podcasting's not a huge part of what you do though, is it?
Not really. Like it's not a typical service, but we're shooting some for one of my retainer clients next week, and we also do a little bit of online podcast editing where they just send us the recording and we edit it. I shot the Josh Townsend one with you, but yeah, it's not a normal thing we do, but it is a thing we can do.
Yeah, cool, very good. And how long have you been going in business now?
Since basically mid-July. So
for the listeners, you were at university, you were studying engineering, and then you stumbled across Floor 12 Run Club.
Yeah. I was studying civil engineering. I was in my second year, first pro civil, and I never enjoyed it. The way I went into it was that I think something like 34% of Fortune 500 CEOs had a degree in engineering. So I was like, there must be something to that. But I just found it kind of just sucked the creative and critical thinking out of you. Went through it. It was always just kind of like trying out different things, tried out a bit of marketing, tried out a little bit of photo and video stuff, and I guess was never content with it. And then on Instagram one day I saw an ad come up for Floor 12 Run Club. I was like, hey, come along, Sunday Run Club. I sent it to Graham and I think a couple other guys, and I was just like, hey, do you want to go to this? And we went along and met the crew, and you introduced us to IHF and went to a few more run clubs and then signed up to the gym and had a few yarns to the guys in the sauna and built up the courage to drop out. So it was a funny wee butterfly effect from one Instagram ad.
It is funny, isn't it? Yeah, it's weird how if you look back to this time last year, so like mid-April 2023, you would have been deep into uni, you would have been questioning what you're doing, if I'm not mistaken.
I wouldn't have had a flat at that point. Yeah, like I was, just battling through uni.
Battling through uni.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to present day and to like where your business is at now. And, you know, you mentioned IHF, the health club gym that we both go to in Christchurch, and you know they're a brand that you're working with, right?
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of full circle now. Where I think it was about early January where we signed on with them, and now I'm handling all their content production, doing photo and video. And they're, a real fun client, dream client. So, pretty full circle moment. And 5 months going from paying a lot to be there, I knew it would return. I got a few deals out of it, met amazing people and became friends with amazing people. That stuff's invaluable, but then turned into them paying me. So it's quite funny.
That's so good. I really enjoy the podcast and the stories that can be told on here, and I think one of these, this is a prime example, you know, to go from being in a totally different environment in university, not entirely sure on what you're doing with life, to being, you know, flipped into this business world in a very short time frame.
Yeah, I mean, I always, I was never happy in uni, and I was always trying other stuff and, you know, reading the books, watching the podcasts. You know, I tried digital marketing for a bit and had a little bit of success, but, you know, got dragged back into uni, and with that comes a big workload. So you kind of have to bookshelf that, and, you know, when I was little, I was doing landscaping around Castle Hill, from mowing people's lawns, doing weed whacking to full, basically developing the landscaping of subdivisions where we kind of had plans, and, you know, I worked with mum to order the right stuff and make these gardens for these new subdivisions up there.
Right. So the entrepreneurial spirit's always existed.
Yes, I'd say that.
It was just on the back burner at uni.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if I'd call it entrepreneurial spirit, but I think just being comfortable working hard and being out of your comfort zone and taking risks. I think they're all just things that have been cultivated throughout a lifetime.
Where do you think that comes from, if you had to guess?
Hard work. Yeah, definitely childhood. My family, you know, we moved to Westport when I was 4, and then we kind of moved there, rented a place for a little bit, and then bought a piece of land and moved onto the land basically, and was living out of tents while we were building our house. And so I remember me and my sister building this house while I was fucking 6, picking up rocks out of the section so that we could create a lawn, you know, with a big bucket, and then dumping them in a pile. There's always work to be done, and I've always been working, and from one house to the next house we built in Castle Hill, it was staining all the cladding over my school holidays, you know. And I guess I learned that, you know, I probably complained at the moment, but I learned very quickly that, you know, there's satisfaction in work, and when you look back at what you've done, it's pretty fun and satisfying.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah,
I think it's a human need, isn't it, to see progress.
Yeah. And
to have a sense of meaning or a sense of purpose, or some form of positive feedback loop that what you're doing, what you're working on actually is progressing you somehow, or there's some form of result.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely visible in my psyche now, where if I am not working on the business, and I feel like I'm working and just doing editing, shooting, and not actually moving the business forward, I find myself getting into a, you know, actually just feeling down and not happy. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of always trace it back to that. So I know if I'm working towards something and building something, I feel happy, I think. Yeah,
it's an interesting ratio, that, isn't it? The time spent working in the business, doing the technical work, or doing the billable time, or whatever the case may be, versus strategic working on the business, longer term thinking, longer term type activity. And I think it's pretty well documented, and it's pretty safe to say that like hard work is not the thing that's going to get you out of, that's not going to create growth necessarily, right?
Yeah.
You need a bit of both.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that currently?
Poorly. I think it's always like, it just comes down to lead flow, and if like I have got a quiet week where I've got a couple days where I'm not shooting, it's I'll make time to do it, but I definitely can be better.
Yeah.
And like what I kind of struggle with is if I have the option between doing some content for BZM or myself, or maybe improving a client video by 5-10%, I'm always going to improve the other video by 5 or 10%, just because I always put them first because I care about their product, and I know that it'll always come back. So that's kind of where I'm trying to increase leverage now, where I can actually start to put more time aside to work on it, and maybe increase satisfaction and whatnot.
Yeah. And I think it's important to realize, in my mind, you've done exceptionally well to go from leaving uni, having zero revenue business wise, to getting to almost 20 grand a month in revenue. Like, that's exceptional. It's super good. So
yeah, but I find like it takes about 3 months to reset your expectations. Like when I first started going to IHF, it was like, whoa, this is crazy, marble, super nice, I feel like I don't belong, oh my god, these people are scary. To 3 months later, it's just your gym, there's what's his name, how you going, it's normal, right? And then you do like a few big months back to back to back, you just have that hygiene standard now, so it's kind of normal. And like I remember in uni where I'm kind of like consuming content of like all these kind of people trying to sell you courses, like, hey, I'm going to get you to 10k per month. Because like 10k per month was always the big milestone, and then you get there personally and it's like, one, I want to keep going, and two, like this is nothing in a way. But it just comes down to your kind of hygiene standards, and
and probably just knowing that you're not at your full capability, like you've got more to do, right?
Yeah. And I think that definitely ties into kind of like the happiness satisfaction equation. If you feel like you're moving towards being the best version of yourself, and you feel like you are actively being the best version of yourself, there's definitely maybe a happiness and satisfaction that comes with it. And I definitely know when I'm like not journaling or making those steps forward, or checking my phone in the morning, stuff like that, things like bad habits, you don't like feel good about it.
Yeah, I agree. It is easy to get off course, right? But I guess the first step is just recognizing that and recorrecting, acknowledging that things aren't always going to be dialed in perfectly. It's funny what you say about normalizing things though, like just being up in Auckland recently and walking around the viaduct, I think it's called, where all the nice boats are. Oh yeah. Have you been up there?
Probably not all the way up to the viaduct. I've definitely been downtown, kind of where the ferries are and all that.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so there's this area where there's all these like nice yachts, like they're probably, I don't know, like 3, 4, maybe up to 10 million, I guess. Like they're pretty big, like pretty nice. But, like on initial sighting these things, it's like, whoa, this is amazing. And then after a few days of like seeing them every day, it's like, it just becomes the new normal. Like you see people working on them or coming off and on them, and it's just like, oh yeah, they've got a boat. Like it's just nowhere near as impactful as it was at first sight. Yeah. So a bit like the gym, right? You just become used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there's kids in Bali doing crazy numbers.
Right.
Yeah, that, like 10x what I'm doing. It's, there's just levels, so many levels.
Yeah. How have they created that revenue? Is it through Have they got teams? Have they got digital products? What are they?
Yeah, I mean, so for context, I was in Bali for a few weeks. A week, 7 days with kind of like a group of entrepreneurs, digital nomad kind of type people, just kind of super interesting. And I think there were quite a few e-commerce guys, a few agency guys, I think mainly e-commerce, but I think they just have had 3, 4, 5 years in the game of consistent, just focused work, like just constantly doing that one thing, and have obviously got the team around them. Of course, e-commerce is reasonably high leverage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it. Like, there's nothing super special about them. Like, they're not super geniuses, like,
No.
with respect to them.
Yeah.
They've just had time in the game. They've been focused. Yeah.
Hanging out with similar people, do you think that's a component?
I'd say so, yeah. Like, they all freaking know each other. Like, it must be crazy, like, going to a different country and just, what's his name's here? Or just running into someone. Like, we're with one of the girls, we were at a yoga retreat and freaking ran into two separate people in the car park. I was like, it's crazy.
Yeah, right.
In a completely different country, but it's interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? It is a small world. Like, I've had that recently in Auckland when I was up there. Ran into a couple of people. One person I knew, one person Emily knew, and then recently-ish, like Melbourne, a couple of months ago, get off the train or the bus from the airport. Emily bumps into someone that she knows from Sydney that's randomly in Melbourne.
Oh.
And it's just like, what the heck? Like, how does that even happen, right?
Yeah. 7 billion people.
I got to think there's something more to it than that. It's just it can't be pure coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's got to mean something. If you can switch off your engineering.
No, I can't switch it off. I
There's
just
no
know
logic.
the pattern, confirmation bias. It's all cognitive bias, I think. Yeah.
So what were you doing in Bali? Were you filming for them or?
Yeah. So filming, basically, because they've got personal brands and
Right.
whatnot, they can just afford to pay for someone to make content for them.
Yeah. Cool.
So I just got to tag along on some pretty crazy experiences, boats, beach clubs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just take photos. I feel like most of the photos were actually just on my phone. I just wanted stuff like that. Yeah.
And was it that you were working for the organizer of the mastermind, or was it for one of the attendees? Or
It wasn't so much of a mastermind. I feel like it was more just a group of friends, and they just kind of just organised this trip.
Yeah.
Because they can do that and afford that, and they just got a bunch of friends together, and as part of it, like, hey, we'll just fly out a videographer,
Right.
get some good content for you guys, and
Love it.
yeah,
That's cool.
it was interesting
How
to
did-
see that.
How did the opportunity come about?
I was following this one guy on Instagram who used to do a lot of agency stuff. He did like really good case studies. So I was following him on Instagram, and he just put on his story one day, need a videographer in Bali, DM me. I just swiped up, sent him a message, hey, I'm a New Zealand videographer, it's a short flight over, makes sense, here's some work. And then he was like, oh yeah, looks good, do you want to jump on a call? Jumped on the call, I was thinking like, oh okay, it's just like an interview process, whatever. And they were basically just like, oh yeah, here's the plan, logistics, book your flight for these dates on the call. And I was like, oh crap, this is happening.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm.
That's what happens when you put yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
Things can happen.
Yeah, so many things like that. Like, there was one time when I was living up in Hamner when I was studying photography back in high school, because Kiwi guy, and I saw that he was in Hamner Springs. Sent him a DM, hey bro, do you want to grab coffee? And he was like, oh yeah, I'm free this dates, come to this cafe at this time. Had a great 2-hour yarn to him over coffee.
Yeah.
This guy had shot for Vogue, Prada, those kind of things, super like high-end fashion, as well as doing really, really cool personal work. That was just from a DM.
Yeah. So good.
That's how I first met James Wallace. Sent him a DM from, I think it was, another James referred me to him, and we teed up a meeting and kind of basically got to interview him, and Sam was there filming content for it, and shoot shots.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, I just booked in that podcast in Auckland with Stanley from The Attention Seeker, and that was purely just through a post I saw on LinkedIn that he will literally say yes to any podcast invite. And I'm like, I've got a podcast. I'm in Auckland.
Yeah.
If you're up for it. It's pretty late notice. This was like last week. And he's like, yeah, man, just like message my EA. Here's her email. Did that, and then it was teed up and booked and
cool.
got it done.
They do cool stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a cool chat.
I'll be excited for that one to come out.
Yeah, I love the story. I love the essence of what he's doing, and just this mindset around like either this is going to be massive or it's going to go bust.
Yeah.
Nothing in between.
Yeah.
I like that polarizing.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it was good. And so now I've got a new connection out of it. We keep in touch. Hopefully, get him back for a 1 year anniversary one, which is what I've done with James.
Oh yeah.
The 3rd year anniversary one's actually coming up.
Oh yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's a good way to check in on someone, right? A year between podcasts.
Third year. That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. There must not be quite 12 months in between, because I'm going to get my dates.
I feel like the first one might have been in November.
Yeah, I think it was episode like 5 or 6, and then we did one. Yeah, I guess it would be late 2022, and then we did a 2023 one. So we haven't done one this year.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's like a once a year type thing. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's next for you, man? What's the next few years look like, if you had to guess?
For me, it's like I want to go big.
You want to go big?
Go big or go bust, kind of like that. At the moment, just kind of in the process of bringing on contractors, and I'm going to get to the point where it makes sense to bring them on full time. I want the office. I want seeing what James has been able to build with Digital Simple, where they have a team, they have a community, like a company. A company is a company of people.
Mm-hmm.
You need people for that. It's always evolving and kind of slightly changing, but the general trajectory of it is the same, where I want to just supercharge businesses, whether that's personal brands, large companies, medium-sized companies, small companies, with content. Mm-hmm. I thoroughly believe that's the way, and I see so many businesses doing that these days. I think some of my favorite ones are Nude Project out of Barcelona, Spain.
Oh yeah.
Fashion brand. I think they started in 2019. They've done, I think they did maybe 30 million revenue from selling clothes. They were listed in Forbes 30 under 30, and they just crush content. The clothes are good. They're not special.
They're okay.
But their marketing, their connection to the audience is exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean, the content's great, but they also, doing little pop-up shops. The interior design on those is great. It's a really good case study and great thing to observe.
Right.
So, I want to be able to just supercharge businesses and kind of have that established BZM brand where companies see what we do for ourselves, for other people, and they just trust us. They trust what we're able to do, our vision, so that kind of cuts out some of the revision process, because that's kind of the bane of every photographer's existence. But I think that's where we're headed, and it would be awesome to, for a large size company, just have one of our shooters / interns kind of, install them in that country, and they work on that one like an account manager. Mm-hmm. I'd say that's kind of where we're headed, and I guess running parallel to that and to kind of help achieve that is, I need to start marketing myself and getting into the personal content and just kind of build in public. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to be doing starting from, yesterday.
Starting from yesterday. Why yesterday?
Because why would I start it tomorrow? Yeah.
What was that first move yesterday?
I posted a reel the other day that popped off quite well, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to plant. Well, the best. Oh, I can't remember the saying. It was
Tree?
like, yeah, the tree one. What's the
Yeah.
tree one? It's like,
The best day was yesterday to plant it.
Yeah.
Second best day is today.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this whole personal branding content chat has been around for, I don't know, probably like 6, 7, 8, 10 years kind of thing. It's interesting how few people adopt it though, despite there being a clear opportunity.
And I'm kind of sinking my teeth into it at the moment. And who are the examples? There's been quite a few examples where I guess Sam Altman has become the face of OpenAI, his company in AI.
Right.
Elon Musk, the face of X, Twitter. But even on a more micro level, who's a good example? There's this one example, Strawberry Milk Mob. She creates funny TikToks, and through that she's able to sell a massive load of bikinis and swimwear.
Right.
Purely from content and stuff like that. But another great one's Daniel Dalen. He does kind of e-commerce SaaS, kind of basically scaling e-commerce stores, and yeah, he's just building in public and kind of documenting the journey.
Yeah.
And what I think documenting and building in public does is you're able to connect with potential customers, you're able to connect with potential hirees. If you get someone invested in the company and say, oh, these guys are doing really cool stuff, they take care of their employees, they have a great culture, I want to join them.
Totally.
You can do that through personal brand and stuff like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, there's so many different ways you can take it, I think. I guess, Hamosi, he's the face of acquisition.com. Yeah, I think that's where it's headed.
Yeah, I think as a lot more things become commoditized through AI or whatever, I think it'll really become more and more relevant. Like, I think this whole individual branding and like it'll just evolve, I think, to become more important about who's behind it than the actual
I think that's it, exactly.
brand or logo itself.
And I think even like company accounts, whether it's like an Instagram account or whatever, aren't as powerful as like
relevant, right?
a founder's account.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, like imagine following, say, I mean, it's not to say you can't put out valuable business content that's interesting and unique, but usually it's a certain person, whether it's the founder or a certain person from that brand, that's the actual one that creates the interest, right? Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
The example I had in mind was that guy that did the 50-day challenge? 50 challenge? Or
Project 50?
Project 50, yeah.
Which guy is
What's
that?
his name? Daniel something?
Oh, I
He's
can't
got some
remember.
great content.
Is it Som Studios?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, so many examples. Iman Gadzi, he's another one. Like, he's just, like, I don't like his product, but it's just kind of courses, but he's able to funnel in buyers, customers, as well as the staff to build it just through personal content. So yeah, it kind of solves both sides of the thing. And
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, even this podcast is example of that, right? Like the amount of different contacts that I've made through it. Toby, who's the legend that does the editing and production now, he was a listener of the podcast. And so he was like, hey, just been listening for a while, keen to help. Can we work together?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
I think almost like, what's one thing you look for an employee, you probably want to somewhat get along with them, I imagine. If someone's following your content and is invested in the business and what you're doing, they've already kind of pre-selected themselves to be somewhat liking you,
Somewhat aligned, right?
Yeah. I think that's, powerful in itself. Yeah, and even because I've put out on my story needing X contractor, need a graphic designer, and I had some people I knew hit me up. I had people I knew referred me to, and I was able to, one, look at their Instagram. Okay, I can get a feel for who this person is.
Yeah.
Look at their work. Okay, that's cool. This one in particular, their level of graphic design was probably more advanced than I was looking for, but I liked their work ethic. They, said to me, "Hey, I want to do a free project for you." Immediate, green flag.
Yeah.
Checked out all the stuff. It looked good. Hey, you're probably not a bit too advanced for this position, but I saw these photos. Can you edit these photos, like some photos that I have, like this?
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I can do that. Send him a sample project.
Yeah.
He's editing them at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
it was just a kind of character fit. I was like,
Love it.
you're not going to fit in this role, but you could. I like you.
Yes.
I could probably fit you in this role here.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, so good. And did you mention you found a video editor as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's a guy I went to school with.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't super close with him at school. Always had respect for him as a person.
Yeah.
He always had good character, and I can't remember how that exactly came about. I think it was another friend referred me to him who he had been in contact with, and again, he just had the work ethic and good mindset. And I think I first approached him in October, November. Didn't probably have he hadn't quite developed the skill high enough to where I was happy with the workload. We did a kind of like a paid sample project, a sample project. I was like, hey, I'll just pay you this much. But there was good character there, but the skill wasn't quite there. Skill can be taught. I guess character is a bit harder to teach, and I kind of reapproached him last month. Just checked in with him. Hey, can you send me through some recent work? It looked good. I sent him a sample project and paid. The sample, what he made came back really good. That was a fit.
Yeah.
And
nice.
so now I'm sending a crap load of work, or good amount of work his way.
Yeah.
He just had that work ethic and
That's cool.
good attitude and can-do attitude. I think that's just so key, is if you can do what other people can't do, work hard and other people can't work, it's good.
Yeah. When do you think you'll get to the point of employing someone on a payroll basis? Do you think that'll be in the near future, or it'll be this year, I would imagine?
Oh yeah, let's say this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. And that's exciting.
It is exciting.
And I guess I'll kind of know when we get to that point, and you have to kind of find a mutual understanding of if it makes sense for them and all that. And that's a big area. That's kind of the next step of my development, is learning to manage people and hire correctly. And basically, I just got to have the right conversations with the right people and just go out and learn about it. Take it slow, but just talk to the people who've done it well and learn something. And maybe they're too busy and they can just refer me to good resources and whatnot. And
yeah. So as of today, so April-ish 2024, so you've grown your business from zero to where it is today. So there's been a few different streams of clients. So I would imagine the old-fashioned word of mouth probably been a component.
Yeah. Word of mouth. And BNI has been really good for me. I've got a really good chapter, and it's been amazing. Word of mouth has also been really good. I did a little bit of paid ads, tried some back in November last year, and had a few leads come in, but I just didn't respond to them quick enough. But then there's been so many people who I've worked with now who saw those and be like, oh yeah, saw these ads, built up that trust, didn't convert initially, but converted down the road. But I honestly think, word of mouth, referrals has been amazing. I've got a little bit through the BZM social media,
yeah.
which is pretty incredible, thinking about I don't post on it anywhere near enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you just always over deliver to clients, you know, they'll happily refer you and happily come back again. And I actually just finished a job on Tuesday for someone I did a free video back in August last year.
Right. Wow.
I did, free video and free photos for, and it was all the way out in freaking Whiteborough. So, like, I originally, you know, drove all the way out, you know, freaking had, you know, paid for fuel and all that, and gave them some good photos. They were super happy, and they turned into a paying client later on. So that's cool. But it was a full circle moment.
Yeah, it's always cool when those things can come around full circle, either directly, like back to monetization from that free thing that you did, or it can lead to a referral or something, right? It's quite a nice thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, like, I have so much respect and amazement for how Graham, like, he got his start in real estate, how he went to all the, like, open homes of agents and just offered them a free video. Like, I thought that was the freaking coolest thing ever.
The simplest thing, right?
Like, but it's so cool, like, ballsy at that stage of business, whereas, like, now I'm, like, used to it, I could probably do that. But, like, seeing him do that in real time, like, he had, like, a list and just kind of, like, checked them off as, like, oh yeah, this person's got an open home here, I'm going to go there, plotted out his route every Saturday. So much respect for that. And
me too, because it would be a lot easier to hide behind messaging,
send an email, cold call.
Totally.
I mean, even cold calls aren't fun, but I haven't done that any for this business. I did some back when I was doing, like, marketing stuff, but they're pretty brutal. But I think if you frame it in that it's a conversation rather than a sale, because I think if you put too much pressure on yourself, you're potentially setting yourself up for failure right from the get-go. Whereas if the intent is just to have a conversation, to, I don't know, book a meeting, whatever that lower difficulty task is from that, then I think and I, like, that's how I treat it now. Like, just grab a coffee with people and learn about their business, and, you know, there's always something to learn, and that I can always translate into my business or something like that. And, you know, if there is a problem that I can solve through content and what I do, then awesome, let's work together. But at the end of the day, it's just getting to know them, learn about their business, just have a genuine conversation.
Finding alignment. Did I see you were on Brad's podcast?
Yes.
How'd that go?
That was cool. Short, sharp. Brad's my BNI group, so got to know him through there.
Nice.
And just went to book a 1-to-1 with him, and it turned into a podcast.
Really?
So I guess this is my second podcast appearance.
Right. Cool.
Have
you ever thought about doing one?
A little bit. Like, I kind of, like, tried to record one back in November, because kind of looking at it from the personal content workflow of, like, you do the podcast, you can turn it into YouTube videos of, like, about 10 minutes in length, and you can also turn that into short form content. It's kind of like the 80-20 of content. But it's still on the table, but I think there are more fun or more unique activities out there, and I've always zigged where other people zagged. You know, if there's a few podcasts out there. I'd rather start my own YouTube or vlog series or something like that, and just do, like, raw day in the life kind of videos. Cool. I think that's what's next. It's a shame that type of content takes so much work and effort, to especially consistently. You know, it's not unrealistic to do one or two, but to do it consistently is a real commitment, right? I mean, even, like, the little 75 hard daily videos I was doing took a fair bit of work. I mean, like, it was just kind of like 15 minutes at the end of the day where you edit it all. But there was return out of that, where, one, I became a better videographer because I just kind of, like, tried out different transitions between clips, kind of had the presence throughout the day to, okay, this looks cool, let me grab a video of that.
Yeah, cool.
And I actually, got a bit of work out of it where other people saw it and wanted to do the same and paid me for it. So
yeah, cool. I like that. So when's the YouTube vlog series coming?
Soon. Yeah, I probably will just post it and not tell anyone.
Yeah.
Where I got to get those first reps in before there's actually anything good there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just got to not fall into the trap of wanting to nail it first try. You got to remember that the first 10 or 100 are going to be shit, and you have to just get them out of your system and
totally
figure out the workflow, get confident on camera, and just do it. But that's all it comes down to, is just doing it.
Yeah. How long do you think you'd make them?
Probably about 6 to 10 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, it's probably good, right?
Just kind of it could be about a just recap of the week and kind of going through the week and share some insights and keep it pretty raw and authentic. I think authenticity is the best thing you can bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing with that kind of content is it's obviously an evergreen asset that's going to live there forever if you want it to. So more work up front, but you're creating this wicked thing that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Iman Gadzi, he started his YouTube, I think, back when he was 16, 15.
Oh, yeah.
And he basically recorded his whole process of building a multi-million-dollar business. Now he's doing hundreds of millions. But there was kind of a drop-off from raw authentic to just kind of basic top-of-funnel marketing, 10 tips to make you rich, whatever content.
Right.
There was a drop off in that, but it's a very powerful resource for him to say, hey, look back at this. This was my journey. I can do this for you too. That's an incredible sales tool. Mm-hmm. But I think, you got to, personally, it's really cool to look back and, I wish I planted that tree yesterday,
Yeah.
So I got to plant it today.
Yeah. Do you follow that guy Jack or Zach Kravitz, I think?
No.
Zach Kravitz. Yeah.
What does he do?
He's an American guy. He's got a huge... No, he's more Instagram, I think, but I'm not sure how I came across him, but he puts out quite a bit of content just on his process of building this luxury bag company.
Oh, I've definitely heard of him.
Yeah, it's
definitely heard of him.
Really good content, though. I really like it. I think he's got a background as a videographer, so he's... his content's easy to watch. It's aesthetic, it's nice to watch. But yeah, it's this whole process of creating a luxury bag brand, and it's a really good example of public building.
Yeah, I think that's just what I want to do. Are you gonna start anything like that, David? Record the 10 million?
Not immediately. It's just too much work in an area that I have low skill.
Yeah.
So it would be unrealistic for me to do it personally, and it would also be unrealistic or unfeasible to commit to it right this second.
Yeah. And and that's where I want to build a business where we can approach people like that and say, hey, we'll cover it. I need to figure out the way to present the return on investment to say, hey, this is the return.
Yeah.
Let's do this sort of thing. But that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different models, right? I was talking to someone recently that has a podcast studio and produces podcasts, then splits the revenue off the sponsorship with the creator, with the podcast host. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very interesting.
Makes sense.
Kind of a commission-based podcast studio.
Yeah, almost in a way, yeah. Yeah, and I was like, that's interesting. It's in a backyard too. It's not in New York,
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of different ways of skinning the creative cat.
Yeah. Yeah. What else?
I've got, how Diary of a CEO does the question?
Which question?
The question, he asks a question from the previous guest.
Ah.
Have you not seen him do that?
I've only listened to his very, very first episodes.
Right.
Before they got super ad heavy and kind of when it was just him in his closet talking about his business in the upstart phase.
I don't know if I've heard any of those earlier ones.
They're pretty good and they're pretty raw. Yeah.
Is it before he's got the team and before?
No, it's definitely like he's got a good business at that point, but he's still kind of figuring it out.
Right. Yeah.
And it's all pretty very unfiltered.
Right.
He really lets you into his psyche at that point.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. But anyway, yeah, he's got a tradition where he asks a question that the previous guest has left in the book. So we're just going to jump around straight into it, Ben.
Okay.
So the last guest, we'll get out the notebook here. And this is quite a good question, I believe. I quite like it.
Who was this from?
Flynn from the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Sweat As Rewards.
Yes, yeah.
So he left a question. What is the best experience you've ever had and why?
Oh, I'm really bad at recalling certain stories with unprompted, but let me think.
Does anything come to mind immediately?
It definitely would have been while I was adventure racing, because you're out in the middle of nowhere with a team of 4 to 8 people who you get along with, they're your mates, and you get to see some pretty cool stuff and great sunsets, beautiful landscapes, or a blizzard and hypothermia. It can be either or.
Sounds great.
It's really great. It would have been I can't pin down a specific time, but one that comes to mind was in Cromwell, first hour of the race. We started at like 5 o'clock in the morning, middle of winter, and we're going up a spur next to kind of the Clyde Dam, and the sun, we're above the fog and the sun's just starting to come up. You can kind of see the car headlights going along the road next to the lake, and we're basically on top of the mountain and the sun's rising.
Wow.
Fog over the lake, you're with good people and nature, pushing yourself, and I guess that's kind of what comes to mind, I'd say.
Wow.
Like in that moment you kind of look around, it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Legs are burning, but I guess that's just the one that comes to mind.
Cool.
And it's kind of that type 2 fun that
as opposed to type 1 fun being like drinks or
I mean there's definitely a lot of good memories like that, but I think that one was just the one that first naturally came to mind.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I think there's something about spending time with quality people and nature while doing physically hard things. Like I think about a lot of the Rapaki trips that I've done, either like early morning or in bad weather or whatever, and it's always like an amazing experience for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's a combination of those 3 things.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I need to get out there more, but like some of my best memories are just with good people. I remember driving to this like lake with friends, kayaks on the roof, good music, kind of nice sunset, and just kind of like being present with the fact that you'll look back on this and this won't last. You'll grow up and go your separate ways, but it was good.
But that season of life happened and it was there, and it was a moment that you were cognizant of at the time, that it was likely something that you'd remember. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and everything was just in place. It's just different seasons of life.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, people do come and go, and it's amazing to be able to look back on experiences like that. Love it.
Yeah, and you can't try and recreate them. You just got to be present with them and make more ones.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, have you got any travel planned going forward?
Oh, I mean, Bali left an impression on me. Like, it's a cool place. I'll definitely be back. Probably more than a week, but probably not more than a month or so. But I'm not super well travelled. I've been to Australia a couple times, probably for a grand total of 10 days, just like in and out, seeing family. So Bali was like the first kind of real travel experience, and it was the first one by myself, so it's pretty funny. But I want to see the world, and Europe will be on the cards, but I think the next one I've talked to a few friends about is Cape Town. Cape Town, maybe New Year's.
Wow.
Won't confirm it, but it's on the cards. I think that's a pretty cool place. Beautiful, interesting place.
What would stop you from doing that?
Maybe nothing. No, I wanted to say work, but by that point I should have at least a contractor who can handle some shooting. Definitely have the editors and other people in place.
Yeah, and you got plenty of time to figure that out too.
Yeah.
So would it take maybe one other friend to be like, all right, let's do this, like let's book it?
Yeah, like you need to either know someone over there or have people with you, because and that was a takeaway from Bali, was you can be on a yacht with people and good music and drinks and whatever. You can be in fanciest beach club, whatever, but if you're around good people, you'll have a good time. And
totally,
you can have just as good of a time with your mates and on the couch in your flat in uni, right?
Yeah.
But you just got to be around good people, good energy.
Yeah.
And I mean, money doesn't guarantee that, but it can make you less worried about the bill.
Mm-hmm.
It can make it more interesting, put you on the yacht. But yeah, if you're around good people, you can have a good time anywhere, I'd say. But yeah, try recruit a few of the guys and get them on board. Could be fun.
Part of the Young Founders Club.
Founders Forum, yeah.
Founders Forum, is that what it's
I
called?
think that's what Scott's called it.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah. Has he talked to you about it much?
A little bit,
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, we went out for dinner Wednesday at a nice wee dim sum place. Just kind of, I think there was actually a little bit of business that came out of it between a couple of the guys, so
Cool.
It's a win.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a nice little thing that you look forward to whenever you book it, having dinner with mates. So yeah, shout out if anyone wants to meet like-minded people and go for dinner with some cool young entrepreneurs or business savvy people, hit me up and we'll invite you along. Everyone's welcome.
What's the age cap?
I think honestly it's probably 22 to 19, 18.
Yeah, right.
Pretty small age gap, but keeping it around under 25s, I'd say. But yeah, we're just want to bring more people along, more diverse people, all businesses, all industries, all niches. Yeah,
there's a massive cohort of people in that age bracket, both at the gym and outside, right?
Yeah, when I was in uni, I thought those people didn't exist. I felt like me and my friend just thought we were the only ones out there, and we didn't even think that just older high level business people existed in Christchurch. And going to the gym just exposed me to a whole different world. These people do exist in Christchurch, and then getting to hang around with these people, you're like, whoa, there's a lot of money actually just in Christchurch. And then when I went to Bali, I was like, whoa, there's a whole nother level of young people doing way more in this little freaking villa in Bali. There's a lot of people out there, and just connect with them, shoot them a shot, send them a DM.
It's an interesting question how you meet people like that. Obviously social media is one method, but how else? I guess you go to places that
go to IHF.
Yeah, IHF,
go on the sauna,
run clubs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a client in a relatively small, not small, but a small-sized city, and so that question's come up a few times. Where do you meet like-minded people? So you've got things like gyms. You've got things like, I guess, sporting things. I don't know. It's a good question though.
Yeah, I mean, And, you know, I pondered over this while I was in uni, like trying to figure it out. I think you just got to experiment. Maybe it's going to some sort of sporting activity, going to the ski field, going to doing mountain biking, going to a different country, you know, meet some people outside of your city. But I honestly, I think in Christchurch, IHF is the place to go.
Yeah, I guess it blew my mind being at that Diary of a CEO show and how there was like 1,000 people there in this theatre, and just how like I was just like, this is an amazing number of people to think that like they've all paid to be here, they've all got similar interests, or one of them has. Like that was something that I believe was a common thing there. It was like maybe like a couple, and then like one of them's into it, but then the other one's just been dragged along. I felt like that was probably 50% of the audience.
Did you get much networking out of it, like amongst the people in there?
Nah, zero networking. No, it wasn't really set up for that.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that, you know, I looked at. I was like, okay, do I go to these sorts of events and talks?
Well, I was thinking the same thing, to be honest. Like I thought that would have been a possibility.
I'd say maybe on a more micro level. Like a couple of years ago, went along with my mum to it was like a talk from a bioengineering guy. It was like, might have been an audience of maybe 30 people, and he gave like an hour-long presentation, and it was kind of like the right size where you could hang out afterwards, ask him any questions, talk to the other people who were also asking questions, you know.
Yeah.
And I think I actually got his email afterwards.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the event, right, and how it's set up and run. Because like in my mind, if it was at a hotel that had like a restaurant bar area, there may have been before and after type things going on.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't the case.
I'd say, probably just visit a BNI chapter as well. Like there's bound to be one in your city.
Yeah, well, that one I went to in Auckland, that was good. That was a good experience.
Which chapter did you go to?
I think it was called The Key.
The Key. I went to one when I was up in Auckland.
Oh, yeah.
And that was cool because there was one of the attention seeker people were there. And, just a different range of people. And it was kind of funny to see the niche industries in Auckland. It was all finance, corporate, lawyers.
Yes.
No tradies really.
No tradies,
No
right?
tradies.
Yeah.
Whereas, our one in Christchurch has got like, 5 different tradies.
Tradie heavy, yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you this one meet?
It was pretty central.
In the city?
Yeah, in the city.
Was it in the HSBC Tower?
Oh, yeah. Asking me too many questions. It was in one of the kind of like cafes that are on the bottom floor of these towers.
Oh, okay, right, gotcha. Yeah, no, you'd know if you went to this one. It was on like the 20th floor of the HSBC Tower.
Crikey.
And it was epic. But
How
really
good.
nice group of people. And what was cool for me was like the Christchurch group seemed to be a bit older.
Oh,
and I know
okay.
age is a relative topic here. But like here I feel like they're more like 50s to 60s average age. Maybe 50s average age.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was like more 30s, 40s.
Oh, okay.
Which I found really cool.
Yeah, interesting.
But I think that's one of the main benefits of BNI actually, is being able to go to different chapters in different cities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can visit them, like, even if you are not actually in the BNI system, you can still, I encourage anyone to visit chapters.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think the only limitation is that if you're, say you're a videographer, you probably can't go to a group that has a videographer member.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the only restriction.
Yeah.
Are you in there for videography or?
Yeah. I think it's just content now, because when I first signed up, there was a photographer and they left after a while, and I guess I just kind of took over their space and whatnot. Yeah.
Did you get on with them? Did you?
They're super lovely person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Really nice.
Yeah. How long have you been in there for now?
Probably about 5 months now, to be honest. Because I visited for quite a while and subbed in for quite a few different people before I actually signed up, because one of my clients, she invited me along, and then came back a couple times and then got to know a few other people and subbed in and just found my home there.
Yeah.
Really good chapter, and just kind of struck gold with that one. I thought.
Yeah, cool. Are you the youngest member?
Yes. Yes, I believe I'm the youngest. Am I the youngest on this podcast?
Are you younger than Graham?
Yeah.
Younger than Sam?
Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both younger. He'd be 22, not to get it wrong, but
Yeah, you might be.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that's been younger. Don't think so.
But like, I honestly feel old for where the expectations of myself should be, because I guess I just see the outliers of people who are my age or younger doing incredible stuff, and I just put that expectation on myself.
Yeah, and I guess that's both a good and a bad thing.
Yes.
Good in that, like, you have high standards, you want more, you want to do stuff, but bad in that, like, you don't want to negatively impact yourself, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be your own worst enemy.
Yeah, and I couldn't verbally tell you how to balance it, but I do feel like I am somewhat, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So if we were to sit down here in a year's time, so April next year, 2025.
2025. Oof.
What are your predictions? Because I find this quite interesting, especially with younger guests, because it's seemingly like the younger, the more
Ambitious.
the more change and bigger shifts can happen.
Yeah, because we've got nothing to lose. We don't have the mortgage or the mouths to feed. We can kind of...
Yeah, I guess there's that point, yeah.
And where would I be? I'd definitely have some full-time staff by that point. Would have a couple whale clients who are, big size businesses on good size retainers. I would be in a more directorial role, doing the creative direction, managing people, maybe still a little bit of shooting on kind of just the projects I want to. Hopefully not doing too much editing. No, I'm going to be doing no video editing.
Oh, I like
just
that.
photo editing, because I enjoy photo editing.
Okay.
Maybe on the second year we'll have an office, but I just love the idea of being able to bring your brand to life through a physical space. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think, on a business level, that's what it would somewhat look like.
Yeah. So 2026, the office is coming.
Yeah, maybe sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be super cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Very, very stylish.
Yeah. I think that's really... it's cool when you go to a different business and see how they've used that space to represent their values, like whether that's through like being creative with the use of resourcing, or whether it's just through opulence. It just says so much about someone, right?
Yeah. When I spent a day with an engineering firm when I was like on the fence.
Yeah.
I just went in the office. It was just fluorescent lighting, but it was like still kind of like engineering, where there was like a couple like wee details on like desks that were kind of like crafted and set up to be quite practical.
Right.
But it was like, and all the software was super like bland, no aesthetic eye.
Right.
I was just like, I couldn't handle being in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I did a day's work experience at high school when it was either like 6th or 7th form, so year 12 or 13, and I went out with is it the civil engineer or surveyor? I think it was a surveying company. I'm not sure why exactly I did that, but similarly, the office was just like super, just uninspiring. Like, no offense to anyone, it was just like, it was just not a place that I would want to spend time in, right?
Yeah.
No excitement, no energy.
Yeah.
And that just put me off.
Yeah. I think it's so true. Like, you want a space that reflects your brand. Like, whether you're bringing in your team or you're bringing in potential clients, like, it should be what it's about.
Yeah.
I guess even those bland ones probably do somewhat reflect the brand.
Maybe. Same as co-working though, right? Like there's a vast spectrum when it comes to co-working spaces. Like some of them are really corporate and bland. You know, some of them are like pretty fucking loud and like high energy and like hectic. And then there's ones that are a bit more calm and just different strokes, different folks.
Yeah. And like, I guess I'd say to anyone who's on the fence about whether it's uni or to a young person, any big decision, like just go out and have conversations with people on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I went to do some work experience with the engineers, and, you know, I went on site with one of them and they were telling me, you know, they had good work-life balance. You know, they were able to go for a mountain bike ride after work and take it pretty cruisy, and, you know, they only worked a few days of the week and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
for me, that was, I need to be working towards something. I am okay with working hard. And, you know, before that, you know, I'd had conversations with people in the industry, and, you know, people like James, people like Sam, I'd had conversations with them and just got pictures of both sides of the fence. And yeah, I just encourage just people to go out and talk to people.
Totally. Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah. And I think, as you said, like, there's no harm in like just messaging people, right? Like, just put it out there. I think, yeah.
Don't bombard people, don't pester people, but I'd say you'd be surprised. Just I guess, I don't want to encourage people to bombard people, but I'd say, give it a shot.
Yeah. Depending on what it's for, right?
Yeah. Come up with like a Hormozy undeniable offer. Don't know.
But I think that's a good idea, though, to speak to some of the maybe younger people that are at that turning point. Like, I know for me it was like a really confusing stage of life, like going to university because everyone else went to uni, hating it, knowing that it wasn't for me, but doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think if I were to go back, if there was only a way that I could have experienced some different variety before that commitment.
Yeah, and
I'd save so much time.
I wouldn't hop on the train of uni's bad, don't go to uni.
Not at all. No, not at all.
I'd just say to people, like, before you go there, do the intern or go to do like a day work experience. It's okay. Like, uni is the move for some people, and we need doctors, we need engineers, we need those people. But if you, don't do it because everyone else is doing it. I'd say that. Yeah.
Be a bit curious.
Yeah, be curious.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. Well, we've got our 1 year predictions, Ben. Anything else that you'll predict for the next year?
Next year,
I want to have this on record.
There's going to be some cool personal content coming out.
Okay.
And I say that as a form of self-hypnosis, to where I got to now hold myself accountable to that.
I like that.
And I think that's important. Just hold yourself accountable. Say stuff.
Yeah.
That you now have to back up. So watch.
I wish I could think of the name of that guy. I'm pretty sure it's Ben Ferrier or something.
Sounds like my name.
No, it's the 50 challenge guy.
Okay.
It's so good. I'll show you afterward.
Okay.
It will get you pumped. You would have seen it before.
Okay.
I'll guarantee it.
I mean, I really like the content that Daniel Dalen's doing. Sam, one of the other young guys from the gym, put me onto it. He does really cool stuff. What else in the next year? Maybe some property under my belt, but again, like, the approach I'm taking with that is talk to the right people, talk to people who know about it. I'd say I'm happy with the direction I'm headed into, and I think that's where a lot of my happiness and peace comes from, is that feeling.
Love that. Very cool. Are you going to finish 75 hard, live hard?
Live hard. Oh, don't make me think about that. You're putting me into a corner here, David. sounds like I have to do it now.
No,
I'm not one for saying no. Yes, we'll do it.
I think if you've done the first challenge, you've done it twice, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think if you've done that, then I don't believe it's that much of a stretch to finish off the whole year. It's difficult in a way, but it's not. I don't believe it's any harder.
I think, when I get to a point where I know I need more structure and to kind of dial in, it'll come. Because, when I did do it last, I didn't have the leverage. I was still editing all my stuff, so that I had no time in the day. I couldn't work on the business because I had to do an hour and a half worth of exercise every day.
Yeah.
And read and all that other stuff, so it made it quite hard, and my sleep suffered. But that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to tick off, and something that I encourage anyone to consider doing.
Yeah. It's just one of those things you can put under your belt, show to yourself that how you can do stuff.
Exactly.
And I was, not in the next year, but maybe in the next couple months, I'll just do a marathon one day.
Yeah.
No training. Like, I really want to do something like that and just push myself for 6 hours.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
What's the furthest you've run to date?
33 Ks.
Yeah.
But that was of trail running over several mountain passes.
Right.
But that was when I was like very fit and training most days, or like run fit and conditioned. There's a difference between general fitness and being conditioned to do something.
Totally.
Yeah. Whereas now I've been enjoying the gym and just putting on size.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
I guess the Christchurch marathon's coming up in a few days.
Yeah.
Impulsive.
No, I'm filming Mac for that, so I got a good excuse. But no, I love the idea of maybe getting a couple mates and just doing one.
Yeah.
Random Tuesday.
Yeah.
Go smash it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really a question of time. Right? Like, you'd be able to do it. It's just a question of how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Is it 4 hours or 5 hours?
I think it might be 5-6 hours. I'm not run conditioned at the moment.
No, there could be some serious pain after that one.
Yeah.
But so good. Awesome, man. Well, what I'll do is I will get you to leave a question for the next guest. I feel bad about stealing this exact same. Great artist steal. Great artist steal. I could just buy a set of the conversation cards. I think that might be the better thing to do, because then it pays respect, pays tribute to the founder, the concept of this idea.
Yeah.
But that's all right. To be determined. Let's check back in a year, see how you've gotten on. 75 hard, live hard, maybe a property, staff, all
definitely
kinds of stuff going on.
Some sort of crazy physical activity in there.
Some amazing personal content coming up.
Yes.
Watch this space. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate your time.
Signing out.